Lamb kofta is a wonderful dish. You can find it in countries from Turkey to Iran. A dish like this would have been spread throughout the area because of the Ottoman Empire, and as each area adopted the dish, they would make it their own with a local variation. The first mention of lamb kofta in a cookbook was around the year 1200, but whatever is your favourite lamb kofta recipe, the secret to a great lamb kofta is to double mince the lamb. I'd like to take a moment to give a big shout out to my supporters. Thank you very much for your support, and don't forget to smash the like button. We're also going to show you how to make a homemade tzatziki, so let's get started. So on my counter I have the ingredients to make 4 portions of lamb kofta. We want to have 3 koftas per person. So let's go through the ingredients. We've got 15 grams of finely chopped garlic, we've got 12 grams of finely chopped ginger, we've got 40 grams of finely chopped onions, we've got 10 grams of parsley that's been picked and chopped, we've got 5 grams of fresh mint that's also been picked and chopped, we've got 1 tablespoon of finely chopped coriander, and on the front row we've got 2 teaspoons of ground cumin, 2 teaspoons of ground coriander, 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 1 tablespoon of tomato puree, and of course 500 grams of minced lamb, and this minced lamb has 20% fat. So you don't want it any leaner than that because you want some fat in there to keep the lamb koftas nice and moist when you're cooking them. So I bought some bamboo skewers from my local supermarket. I guess they're about 10 or 12 inches long, and we want to soak those in cold water, and the purpose of that is when we put them onto the barbecue we don't want them to catch fire, and by soaking them in cold water for an hour before you use them, that will help to stop them from burning when they're on the grill. So the secret to great lamb koftas is you don't want to just make them directly from the minced lamb, you want to mince the lamb again. So the way we're going to do that is use a large food processor, and I'm going to break up the lamb, put the lamb into the food processor, and we're going to whiz it down to make sure it's even finer and even more minced. Obviously make sure you don't put the paper into your food processor. Now you want it to get really nice and smooth. And from time to time you want to obviously break it up, so because it'll coalesce in one place. Make sure that it all gets finely chopped. So the mixture has been processed now for about 4 minutes. It's got about another minute to go, but now we want to start adding our ingredients. So we're going to add our garlic, ginger, onions, and our spices. So we've got our cumin, our cinnamon, and our dried coriander. Put all that in. I'm going to put the lid back on, and we want to process this for about 1 more minute. But when you're doing this, you don't want to do it in one big shot. It's better to pulse, use the pulse setting, and pulse it slowly because you don't want to heat up the cold minced lamb. You want to keep the mix nice and cold. Now we want to add our chopped fresh herbs and our tomato paste. So we'll put the tomato paste in. And then our mint and our parsley and our 1 heaped tablespoon of coriander. And we'll put the lid down and give that a little mix. So the mix is ground up enough, so now we're going to transfer it to a clean bowl. So now we're going to divide our kofta mixture into 12 equal portions of approximately 45 grams each. And to give us some idea of that, we'll put some of the mixture on the scale. That's about 45. Okay, so that's 45 grams, and we just want to roll it into a ball first. And you want to try to make sure that you have no gaps in the ball. If you have lots of gaps in the ball, then they will possibly fall to pieces when they're on the grill. Once you've got it into a round shape, you want to flatten it slightly. Make it look like a thick coin. And that's what we're going to do, just so they're easier to move around on the grill. So we'll show you again. Take some mixture, 45 grams, right on the money. And we'll just bring this together. You see how my left hand is cupping to help bring it together as a ball. And make sure there's no splits in the mixture. Once I've got a nice shaped ball, then I'm just going to flatten it slightly, just like that. So we in fact ended up with 13 balls, 45 grams each. But that's not bad. We're going to now refrigerate those, keep them nice and cool until we're ready to put them onto the skewers and onto the grill. So whenever you're making lamb koftas, don't buy a ready-made tzatziki because it's so easy to make, and you'll end up with so much better results if you do make your own. So on the counter are my ingredients to make my tzatziki, so let's just walk through them. We've got 200 grams of cucumber. I like to use baby cucumbers rather than large cucumber because they have more flavour and also they have less water. I've got 160 grams of full-fat Greek yogurt. We're going to use 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. We've got 5 grams of peeled garlic that we're going to finely dice. We've got 1.5 tablespoons of freshly squeezed lemon juice, and we've got 8 grams of mint that I'm going to chop up. To grate our cucumbers, we're using a box grater, and you want to use the largest side of the box grater, and you want to have quite large strokes on the cucumber so that the pieces are not too small. So we have all our cucumber grated now, so what we need to do is go to the sink and we're going to squeeze as much water as we can out of the cucumber and just put it into a clean bowl. So we have all our ingredients ready. Let's put the tzatziki together. So we're going to put 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil onto the cucumbers. Then we're going to put 5 grams of finely chopped fresh garlic. We've got 1.5 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice. We've got 8 grams or 2 tablespoons of fresh chopped mint. I'm going to give that a stir. And now we're going to put our mixture onto our 160 grams of nice thick Greek yogurt. Make sure your yogurt is full fat to give you the best tzatziki. And all we need to do is just turn that over. So we're just going to season with a little salt and pepper. I've got some sea salt and some black pepper. Give it a little bit more of a stir to stir that seasoning in, and we'll have a taste. Get a clean tasting spoon. On the money, that's great. So the tzatziki will stay good for about 4 days, so we're just going to wrap that up and put it away in the fridge till we need it. So today we're going to serve our koftas on roasted aubergines that are topped with harissa. So let's talk about those ingredients. We've got 2 large aubergines, and what we're looking for is about 400 grams when they're trimmed. We're going to use 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. We've got some ready-made harissa. We've got 25 grams of unsalted butter, and we've got 2 teaspoons of ground cumin. So the preparation for the aubergines is really simple. We're just going to take off the end, and then we want to cut the aubergine in half, and then we want to cut each half again in half, so we end up with 4 equal quarters. Then what we want to do is we want to take some of the seed out. So we just get a sharp knife and just trim it like that. Again, sharp knife, and just take some of the seeds out. This helps so the aubergine does not taste bitter. So we're serving 2 pieces of aubergines per person, so we'll need 8 pieces of aubergine just like this. And what we want to do is we want to just score very lightly with a sharp knife at a 45-degree angle. This will help them cook. And now we want to season them. So we're going to take some sea salt and then some cracked black pepper, season them well, and then we want to rub them with the ground cumin. And we want to make sure that most of the cumin goes into the flesh side of the aubergine. So sprinkle the cumin on. And just rub that well, and of course because you've scored the aubergine, that cumin will get right inside the aubergine to really enhance the flavour. So we're going to do this on the barbecue. You could do this indoors. If it was you doing this recipe in the winter time, you could do the whole thing indoors. But so we're going to take a tablespoon and a half of extra virgin olive oil, put that into our non-stick frying pan and get that nice and hot. So the pan now is hot enough, so we'll add our aubergines. You want to put them flesh side down. So the aubergine has had 3.5 minutes cooking on the flesh side, so now as it's starting to lightly brown, we're going to turn it over. So the aubergines have had another 4 minutes now, skin side down. We're just going to add a tiny bit more seasoning, salt and pepper. And now we want to keep the aubergines hot, but we don't want to continue cooking. I don't have any charcoal on this side of the grill, so I'm just going to move it right there. So we're ready to put our koftas on. So now we're ready to put our koftas onto our skewers. So we just want to gently press our skewer through the middle of the kofta. We want to have 3 koftas on each skewer. Try to space them out a little bit. Just like that. So we're just going to drizzle a little bit of oil onto the koftas and then season them. Remember that we didn't season the mixture because we didn't want them to lose their moisture. So we want to put them some salt and some pepper on now. Then we just want to put these on the grill. So the aubergines are fully cooked. We're just going to carefully transfer them onto a clean plate. So we're going to put them on the warming shelf above. Just there. Right, so we're going to turn the koftas over. And we're going to take them to the other side of the grill where they're a little bit lower. I want to turn the koftas so they're on their side. Make sure they're sealed all the way in. So it's useful if you've got a spatula just to get them to stand upright, so that you're sealing all the juices in on all sides before you lay them back down. So the secret of good koftas is not to let it sit just on one side too long. You want to keep them moving around so they're evenly cooking, and so they're not getting too heavily charred just on one side. You want some char flavour, but you want to be able to taste all that delicious lamb and all those spices. So our koftas are almost finished, so we want to get the harissa ready to top the aubergine. So we've melted our 25 grams of unsalted butter in a non-stick saucepan. To that we're going to add our 4 heaped tablespoons of harissa, and we just want to warm that through. And just put that on the grill, give it a good stir so the butter mixes with harissa. Yeah, that is, you want to zoom in on that, we have over 75 now. So we have our desired temperature, so we want to take the koftas off, and we're just going to put them on our tray to hold till we put the dish together. Now we're ready to plate this up. So we're going to put on each plate 2 pieces of aubergine, lay them nicely on top of our rocket leaves. And now we're going to top our aubergines with our harissa and butter. That wonderful spicy peppery flavour, really bright red. And then finally we're going to top it with our koftas. Absolutely delicious. So here we have our delicious lamb koftas sat on roasted aubergines that are topped with harissa and served with our delicious homemade tzatziki sauce. Don't forget to like and smash that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.